Hello and welcome to Fish Fingers and Custard, the Explosion Works Doctor Who After Show. My name's Blight. Joining me here, ready to split into two, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan here, excited to be here for the series finale of Doctor Who. Had a good run.
Yeah. Crazy, hey?
Yeah.
Oh, it's rebooted already. Crazy.
Oh, what? They just reboot things so quickly.
You know how I was complaining about
this is the shortest period in between the series finishing and a reboot. It's 2 weeks.
Do you remember? Yeah, was complaining on track that they already split this one, but then they should have just waited. They should have put these specials under the last, the 2005 one, and then just if they were going to do a separate one, then it should have started with next season.
Yeah, well, they didn't know that they were thematically going to.
Yeah, well, they should have thematically prepared, I guess. But yeah, so this
you're more than welcome to tweet tracks and see if they'll change it. You know?
No, if I'm going to tweet at them, I'm just asking for sponsorship or free t-shirts.
I mean, you can add that at the bottom of the tweet.
Can you change the way the show is presented? Also,
free stuff.
Free stuff. We support your website a lot. This week's episode, well, the third 2023 special, even though the Christmas special is coming, which will be the fourth. But anyway,
it's the third 60th anniversary special.
Third 60th anniversary special. There we go. The Giggle was directed by Shana Button, written by, of course, Russell T. Davies. The synopsis was: the giggle of a mysterious puppet is driving the human race insane. When the Doctor discovers the return of a terrifying Toymaker, he faces a fight he can never win. What did you think of the third and final 60th anniversary special, Ash?
Yeah, it was really good. Obviously, you know, Neil Patrick Harris plays a good villain. Some wild ideas. Definitely a moment that I suspect will split like the audience as to whether they like it or not. And yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. And yeah, it definitely feels like a series finale or a finale. You know, it's a happy ending kind of for this version of the Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wild ending. It's crazy. What I actually found so crazy about this episode is it nearly feels like it was written in response to the criticism of the last two episodes, and yet it wasn't. You know, like there's I just feel like some of the predictable nature of certain echoes of the internet weirdly played out the way we assumed they would. And Russell T. Davies knew that, and when he wrote an episode that was about how everyone thinks they're right on the internet, it turns out that those people had been yelling about things that they sort of make fun of in this episode, which is funny, so.
Yeah, are we playing the Toymaker's game right now? I don't know.
It's possible. How are we to tell?
No. I guess people aren't driving into their houses because they feel they can. That's the only difference.
Yeah, I really, really love this episode. I thought it was a fantastic way to, oddly wrap up New Who in a way, I guess, and reboot it into new whatever we're calling it now.
Doctor Who Plus.
Doctor Who Plus, that's right. Reboot into Doctor Who Plus. Like everyone's going to be talking about that last 15 minutes, I guess, but even prior to that, I did find the Toymaker stuff really, really good, and especially the sequence in the 20s where the fucking puppets, that Donna Noble scene was actually going to scare some kids, I think. Either the real creepy ones coming out of the dark or her smashing the head of one against a wall. I don't know. Like, that's going to scar some child out there, I feel so.
Yeah, you know. Rough year for dolls, you know. Or those type of dolls.
They keep doing it to themselves.
Get destroyed in Barbie, get destroyed in this.
Sure.
Let me ask a question. Did you know who John Logie Baird was before you watched this?
Nope.
Okay, interesting.
I feel like I know the name. Like, when they said it, I was like...
No, I mean, obviously, as is explained, as his name, he's invented television.
Yeah.
And that's where the Logies come from. Yeah.
Which makes sense.
So I felt like as an Australian that would be a reference that you got, but clearly not.
No. Yeah, I'd
Just
never.
fuck Australian television, right?
I mean, no.
Who cares about Australian television history? Why are they called the Logies? They don't matter.
I mean, I don't really care about the Logies, but
See?
maybe they were good once upon a time. I don't know. Nowadays,
When you had no other options, yeah, they were good.
Yeah. What's the best episode of Insert Reality Show versus Insert Reality Show? Get the hell out of here.
Probably the first one.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so the Giggle, obviously Toymaker, a villain that I assume that neither of us were up to date with prior to this. From a storyline from the first Doctor's era. In fact, you can't even watch it all, even if you would like to. Apparently, it's half of it still in the lost archives of never to be foundness. But yeah, the adventure the Doctor had, the first Doctor had, Hartnell's Doctor, and then obviously beats him in that game, which they play around with that story in this. And but how he gets into the story, I quite liked how that played off last week's thing where the Doctor said about what was it? Doing a whatchamacallit?
Doing a superstition at the edge of the universe.
Yeah, superstition at the edge of the universe, and that's the cause of him being able to get into
this universe.
Reality is the expression. So I like this. You know,
I don't understand why, but you know, it's a reason.
You don't need to, but like, it's sort of fun. Plays more into this oddly cosmic side of Doctor Who, I guess, with these eternal beings.
But I think the interesting thing is, even it doesn't need to be true to be like right, because at this point in the episode the Doctor's kind of blaming himself for everything.
Yeah,
he's like, that's where he's at in his billion-year life or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
he like feels very responsible for everything as recapped in this episode.
Yeah, amazingly. I mean, when they get to the 1920s bit where they sit down the puppet show and it just goes through and it's like, Amy Pond died. Well, no, she died of old age then. Well, that's okay then. Like, you know,
yeah.
It's like, I can't remember if they did that.
Clara gets to live that last moment infinitely, which I don't know if he knew.
I don't know, actually.
From memory, like, he thought she went back to that moment, and then he and Clara and me decided to go off and have their own adventures.
That's okay then.
Yeah, and then Bell's died and become Cyberman, but her consciousness lives
on. Well, that's okay now. I definitely feel like Neil Patrick Harris was inspired casting choice for this.
I mean, so many accents and
yeah. Well, there was I was trying to see if I could find an article from it, but I can't. Well, at least I couldn't find one. Maybe I'll look if you want. But on talking about how the accent and everything was done on purpose to play more into apparently the first, like the character being racist and the
original Toymaker or whatever.
Yeah, stuff like that. That Russell T Davies talked about in from the behind the scenes video or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess having him apparently said a bunch of racist stuff in the original storyline, and so he gave him the German accent and whatever else.
Because that will fix it.
To play into it. So I don't know. So that was all really, really good. Again, at the start, the part I was hinting at before that sort of made me laugh though is, so obviously the episode starts with them very cleverly playing around Bernard, not actually there anymore.
No, there's just an old guy in a wheelchair who conveniently has his face covered by people in the foreground.
Yeah. Works out well though. So they're like, take care of my dad, get rid of him, off we go. Would have been really interesting to see how he had played into this. I guess originally, if hung around. I guess maybe just stayed at unit the whole time. Had some lines and stuff there. But when they get to unit, Kate Stewart, of course, Jemma Redgrave, which I saw someone point out has, I think, surpassed her
father in appearance.
In character father in appearances with or the amount of doctors she's appeared with now or something like that. So that's quite interesting.
Was she ever in Tennant's run? Or was she
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's appeared with every doctor. Or no, maybe not in the run, but at least a story with every doctor. Like the crossovers and stuff. That's when it gets...
She would have been in the
Power of the Doctor
50th,
or whatever.
Yeah, the Power of the Doctor.
Yeah, so I think she's appeared with every doctor, at least on screen. More doctors now than her in-universe father, I think is what I heard. But yeah, the part where she takes, they go, the Giggle, this tying it into this thing that's been behind screens forever, et cetera, which I thought was a cool little explanation of how this thing's spreading across all these screens and stuff like that, which I thought was cool. But then the part where Kate takes off her bracelet or whatever they called it, that's stopping this thing from infecting her, and straight away she just starts going off about like, you're a fucking alien, and I've seen you walk. I was like, how did he know the internet would be screaming that after the first episode?
Yeah.
It is so funny. Oh, I can believe it. I was like, that is so good. Like, the fact that was a line. I mean, yeah, really, I feel like, so the dead naming in the first episode, like this and whatever, I know there's like, dead namings can be like a controversial thing and whatnot, but I definitely feel like this over 3 specials have definitely like face on tackled a few different issues. I don't know, like things how they play out in real life, especially for a family friendly show, I guess, like ableism and dead naming and whatever else. So but yeah, when she just screamed that, I lost my shit. It's like, fucking hell, crazy. Yeah, so then they go 1920s. We get that whole sequence. I definitely really love that sequence. So the hallways and everything like that was great. But also just David Tennant with this doctor completely ignoring Donna when she was attempting to have a conversation outside the building about, what's bothering him and all that sort of stuff. So that was quite good. Go in, do the thing, meet Neil Patrick Harris, tries to dodge him a bunch of times, throws a bunch of balls.
Oh, I remember you from trying to dance with me earlier in the
show. Yeah. Also, may remember you from 100 years ago.
From How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah. I don't know. Is How I Met Your Mother in canon for Doctor Who?
I don't know.
I don't know, maybe. They go for all that thing. Yeah, and that was very creepy with the dolls and everything. I really like the way that was put together. Loses the game that they have afterwards. Yeah. I don't think he cheated. I do believe that's 100. I don't think he cheats. Like I do think.
No, I think it's I think it's like built in. Yeah, it was just bad luck. 8 is not a great pull.
It's not terrible.
I mean, it's in the middle.
Yeah. But
so from there you had like a 50-50 chance.
So I definitely didn't take it as he cheated. The doctor just knew what to say if he lost, which is, they're 1-1. So good bit. Go back to 2023. Get one of the most insane dance sequences of the year, possibly.
Yeah. As someone pointed out on Twitter, you saw old Chibnall with his Rasputin dance. It's like, let me hold my glass.
And really, he filled that glass.
He did. With Spice Girls.
Why not? Yeah.
Who knew Doctor Who needed some spice in their life?
It's this crazy whole sequence on, and at one point there's a line where the doctor turns and goes, "I'm sorry, they're dead." like, oh, there's people dying. It's fine. They turned into little bubbles and they're dead now. But anyway, Spice Girls is playing, everyone. Let's keep dancing. Have a great time. Really, really like that. Just such a wild character. I feel Neil Patrick Harris having a great time with it, and then jumps on the ray gun,
giant laser thing that they established to blow up another satellite, which they
assumed would fix.
They assumed was the problem because it's satellites that's the issue. I don't know if we addressed it, but the idea of the Giggle being the cause of everything and like it being implanted there from the beginning of television in every screen is a cool idea. And even just the them realizing what that sound was, I thought was a really cool sequence. Even though it's not an actual, it's not like something we would remember. It's like, but in universe it is. I mean, it's almost like the what are they called that you forget when you don't see them?
Silence?
Yeah, the silence. The giggle is kind of like them when they wanted to go to the moon. And they had that message, whatever. So
yeah. I mean, we only started this podcast a couple of years ago, obviously, but I'll tell you what, the year of the silence storyline, I was down the tinfoil. I was down the tinfoil rabbit hole about trying to figure that one out. I tell you, devouring the Reddit theories. Yeah, so he jumps on the thing. I really like this part where they don't like. I like that they didn't play around too much. You know, he fucks around for a little bit, but eventually he's just like, I play my game versus one doctor, and the second one versus another doctor. Oh, I just want to verse the third doctor now. Bang, you know, like it was no.
Yeah, I loved that he apparently threw the people off their Avengers tower, and then you heard the thud at the end.
Did you miss that? I heard the thud at the end.
Yeah, you could hear that, even though in theory you would not be able to hear the thud when they hit the ground. But yeah, he goes, "Oh, they're falling," and then you can hear it. Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, they moved into the Avengers Tower, or they moved the Avengers Tower to London.
Yeah, to unit. Yeah.
That's Disney knockoffs.
It's true.
But yeah, they just murdered the Doctor like out of nowhere, kind of. I think it's the most out of nowhere death that I've seen of the Doctor, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and I guess it's because they knew that everyone would know it was coming, and B, because of what they do with it.
Plan to do,
yeah. So let's get into that, which, yeah, as I'm saying, most people are going to be talking about this last...
Yes, it's a beautiful moment.
Is it longer? Or
probably. But yeah, I will say, going into the final moments we all think is going to end, beautiful moment, because obviously everybody remembers David Tennant's last regeneration.
I don't want to go, yeah.
I don't want to go. And he's like, I'll on see, And then nothing happens. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then he's like, pull my finger.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, oh, that feels different. Can you just like tug on my arms? And out comes a shitty got one.
Can you pull my arms? And then a black man came out.
How do you feel about the Catherine Tate line?
On. What, I've about them coming in varying colours?
Yeah, I've seen that being discussed. It was a bit weird, I thought. I don't think there's like...
It wasn't really a necessary line.
I don't feel like, it's not worth getting pitchforks about, but I'm like, that was a weird line. Yeah, so how come Shitty Gotwa? We have two doctors now. Straight away, I'm like, is the other one just going to like die?
It's like a temporary thing?
Expire soon or whatever. Like, I kept waiting on every scene though, like all the way up until the credits, I kept being like, is there a twist? Like, no, it's just...
I mean, the twist is there's going to be two doctors, technically.
Yeah. Two doctors
just one's retired.
Yeah. So what? So yeah. Well, hold on. We'll get back to that because I do think the way they have this play out, I think it's such a great sequence of the way it's like, okay, well, this guy's really hard to beat at stuff, but two doctors is better than one. And quite often when they do the crossover stories, they always do major villains or they get, the Daleks and the Sidemen. Everyone they team up because it's like you need a really big threat for like multiple doctors because multiple doctors is super hard to beat. But now you got two doctors, one with pants, one with not. One with socks, one with not. So
yeah, it's interesting because they kind of split the outfit.
Yeah.
So you assume David Tennant's version is free balling it this entire time.
Yep.
Because he was wearing the underwear, but they both got shirts.
No, it was an undershirt, right?
I guess
that's how I took it.
Yeah, and he had the shoes and David Tennant. But yeah, long sequence of Shooty Cat wearing his underwear.
Yep. Catching balls.
Yeah. The fate of Doctor Who comes down to
simple game catch.
Catch.
Sometimes it's the simple things in life, Yeah, so they play catch, and really great sequence. Beats the Toymaker, who folds into a little nothing box. It's worth pointing out that before we go too far, there was the line. I just remembered. Well, actually, no, I'll come back to it. Come back to that then, actually. It folds up into a little box. Out pops his tooth, which becomes a thing in a couple of minutes when we see presumably Kate pick up the tooth containing the master. You don't reckon?
I don't think so.
It was her fingernails.
Was
red
it?
Fingernails, yeah.
I don't think she has red fingernails.
If you watch someone did a side-by shot, she has red fingernails in the episode, and it was red fingernails that picked up the tooth. Okay. So she was the only character in the episode with red fingernails. So, but she could just be picking him up to put him in, I don't know, containment or something. But yeah, the master currently in a tooth. Why not?
Sure.
But yes, after he takes down Toymaker, I think you just have such a great sequence there where Shooty Gut was just comforting David Tennant's doctor.
It's interesting because they're pretty much the same person, but they're completely different.
Well, that's always been the thing.
they had the same lived experiences, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but they treat it differently.
But that's how Doctor Who's always been. You know, each Doctor's.
What it feels like is Shooty's version went to therapy before finally coming out, and maybe that's what this returning face was, letting that version of the Doctor go to therapy in the Doctorverse or whatever it was, the white void.
Possibly. I mean, I've already seen people the biggest going fan theory. I don't know if you've seen this, but the biggest fan theory for how all of this connects and makes sense is that the Doctor will now regenerate backwards. David Tennant's one. That's how it's going, and the old Tom Baker curator is this David Tennant Doctor. That's the going fan theory that people are liking on the internet that I've seen.
That's right. They're going to just skip some faces, though.
I don't know. Yeah. They were like, yeah, fuck Man Smith. Fuck Peter Capaldi. Let's just go straight back to...
David.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's an idea that people are throwing out, which... I never needed the curator scene explained.
To be explained? So, no, it could have just been
just a bit thing. Yeah.
Anything, yeah.
But people need explanations for everything.
People do need explanations for everything. And I don't think it's exactly clear why David Tennant came back. Other, it's not specifically stated other than, oh, you were so stressed. That's why you regenerated back into yourself. As if all the other Doctors who regenerated weren't stressed as well.
Yeah. I think the thing is, in canon, they're never going to explain it in the show, and it doesn't matter.
No.
It really doesn't matter. I think within the side of Russell T Davies returning to the show, it is very much him going, well, I'm just going to return to where I was up to with the show, with that Doctor, that companion, give them a happy ending, and then reboot. And I'm doing it this way, I get to explore the flux and keep all of that canon and the mystery child or whatever what they call it. What's it called? The
Timeless Child.
Timeless Child, all that sort of stuff. All of none of that's changing or whatever. But also I get to do this where I can now have a super fun outgoing Doctor because the explanation is going to be, well, all of the baggage stayed with Tennant. I guess is basically how it's playing out now. So, what did you make of Shooty Gut's first performance as the Doctor in this episode?
It's Shooty Gutler. He brings his energy to it. Obviously, he's in doing his hard accent from Sex Education. But yeah, I mean, it's Shooty, and he's clearly got youthful enthusiasm and queerness to him as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see his Doctor, more of his Doctor in 2 weeks' time.
Crazy. Comes around fast. Yeah, was it Rose? No. Christmas on... Oh, whatever.
Yeah. Something Ruby Road.
Ruby Rose. Yeah, Christmas. Christmas on Ruby
The church
Rose
on Ruby
Lane.
Road.
The church on Ruby Road. There we go. Goblins and shit. Yeah, I really liked the performance. Definitely a very lively performance. Definitely going for more of that sort of Doctor, I guess, again. Just full of life and excitement for things and stuff rather than downtrodden ones and what have you. Really like the interaction backwards and forwards between him and Tennant and all that sort of stuff as well, which was good to see.
Yep, them hugging. Ship. Set 1,000 ships.
Well, yeah. Do you think when this new universe where there's multiple Doctors, they're just going to bring Tennant back
I think
periodically?
I think the option is there.
Because I think
I think that's what they're happily. I think he would happily do it, and I think they'd happily left the option open for that possibility. But yeah, it also opens the door for another Doctor, which could be a storyline that they tackle sometime in the future. Yeah, could be the other 15th Doctor. You know.
Now, I've seen some people say it takes away from Shitty Gut was Doctor, that he didn't get a proper regeneration. How do you feel about
that? Who cares? It's such a turning point. You know, he was already delayed into turning into the next Doctor. I don't think he really minds. It's not going to be the end of the world.
Yeah. Because people are like, oh, people already complain enough and say like, oh, I wish we had the last Doctor. This is only going to make it worse because now you know that the other Doctor's out there.
Yeah, but it's just chilling out. Yeah, dealing with his trauma. Yeah, it's fine. You know, technically there was another Doctor out there, technically in the multiverse. You know, the other version of the Doctor with chilling out with Rose. So I mean. It's just a third version.
And there's another Doctor we'd never actually find out what her explanation is, really. What's her name? The fucking whatever.
The other Doctor.
From Jodie Whittaker's time. Whatever her name is.
Yeah.
The lost
Who we
Doctor.
never found out. Yeah. Who is either before all the Doctors or after all the Doctors. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, now's the thing.
Now it could be it could be the next regeneration of David Tennant's version.
Sure.
New one.
That's
we
the
don't
thing.
know.
Yeah. They've really made it harder now, but also easier for themselves.
I think it's harder to explain the concept of Doctor Who now. After this,
not really. I guess if people watch the new, like if people, I feel like the thing is, I know we're talking about if this is a good point to jump in. I think the idea is obviously to make Shitty Gut was such a good point to jump in.
Oh yeah, I think, like I said, I think this is a fantastic series finale. It just kind of wraps everything up nicely, but definitely sets up Shooty's run to be a great starting point for people. Yeah. But like, you know, back in the day, I'd be like, oh, this is this alien from another world who has 12 lives, and every time he dies, he regenerates a new face. Now there's an alien from another world who sometimes regenerates into a new person, but sometimes he reverts to an old face. Sometimes he just splits into two separate people.
I mean, who's to say it could happen again, you know? It's just a once-off.
Yeah.
I
mean, apparently he's changed. I mean, it also raises the question, you know, if he's the timeless child, he got murdered so many times, in theory. Do you know how many times had he actually bi-generated before?
True.
Were the Time Lords all the Doctor?
Was that the second time he'd been David Tennant's face? Or was it actually more than that?
Yeah.
Second time they can remember.
Yeah. Maybe there's only so many faces that he has. He's just gone through all of them before and doesn't remember.
True.
Because of stuff.
Yeah. Because of trauma.
Because of trauma and torture.
Yeah. Then we get a very good wrap-up ending for the David Tennant Doctor? How do you feel about the family dinner? That great line where him and Catherine Tate, with great performance between the both of them. But yeah, Donna being like asking something, and then David Tennant's Doctor just being like, "I'm so happy right now," and all that. Obviously, just going for such, again, for what you're saying, it's such a like wrap up happy ending for this era, this Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, there's only one thing that could have made it better. If that's old Bernard was still alive to be part of the celebrations, instead of off shooting force field covered moles.
Although that's a very funny line. I gave them force fields. I like the moles.
I love moles. Love the moles. He keeps saying he loves everything in this episode.
He's a happy guy now.
And he's making jokes about taking Rose on trips to places. And
But the thing, it's so funny because, and I'm super excited for Shooty Gatwa, but I fucking like if they were like, hey, every now and then we're just going to do like a special that's on this Doctor, and it's like an adventure with Rose or some shit randomly, I'd be like, cool, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be explored in other mediums at the very least. Also, did you know who Mel was before?
Well, not until the last special where I googled her, because she was in that one. The one Jodie Whittaker, the what's my call special? Fuck, I just said it. The Flux special and shit.
Okay.
Yeah. So remember how was it the Flux? Whatever. Remember those 3 companions that came back, or 2 companions?
I didn't think it was her though.
It was her and someone else.
Because it didn't seem like he. Oh no, she offered her a job. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was saying it that way because it was the first time that face had seen her face. That whole thing. So, and they never got a chance to catch up last time.
Yeah, I guess they do now.
They do now. It's like, so what actually happened? And she explains that, because I quickly Googled what happened to her character, and yeah, so the whole like, I spent time with this and I come back to Earth or whatever, so just explaining what happened to her character. So I didn't know who that was prior to last year. So, the other thing I was going to say, so Hooniverse or whatever, which apparently is a real logo that pops up on some countries' versions of the show. I haven't seen it pop up on our version, but Hooniverse. Do you think, because back when Russell T Davies was in charge of Doctor Who, that was spin-off time. Do you think he'll try and build back up into some spin-offs? Because we had...
I think Disney wants some spin-offs, don't they?
Yeah, well, surely. Because we had Torchwood. We had Sarah Jane Adventures. We had some of a kid show, I can't remember. We had...
Class, right?
Class, that's it. Yeah, something else as well, I can't remember. Anyway, we had like 3 or 4 different spin-offs throughout the time. So... And obviously Torchwood, I'd say, was the biggest, most successful.
Yep.
But, yeah. So we'll see if that picks up.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if like a unit series or something.
What if Donna does? I wonder if Donna does take up that job.
Donna takes up that job? Yeah.
How much is it a year? 60 grand. All right, 120 and 20 days leave or whatever. Yep, done. Right, cool.
Damn. Should ask for more.
So easy to negotiate. Wow.
Yeah, well, no.
Remember that my next job.
That's where all the tax money's going.
Yeah. Whatever they offer, double it.
And ask for time off.
And ask for guaranteed time off. Good tactics. Donald Noble way. Yeah, and then Shitty Gutwa takes off and, got places to be.
In a copy of the TARDIS, but with a jukebox.
Yep.
Because he's young. But old.
Yeah. It's funny. Well, yeah. It's this whole thing is like, we're older. I'm like, well, are you older? Like,
I mean, technically you're the exact same age. It's almost like
you're either the exact same age, or you're going from the time you've been active. At which point, no, he's younger.
Unless you're assuming that Shooty remembers all the things you've experienced, is still experiencing all the things that you're experiencing while you're not dead.
Yeah.
That would be the only way to rationalize it, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm going to say no.
Like,
I feel like it should have been like he's younger.
It's like a preemptive regeneration. So while David Tennant lives his retirement, Shooter's already experienced all that. Potentially.
Jesus Christ. Anything else?
That's why he's so... No, I think it was a really good episode. Fitting finale. Good talk about dealing with your traumas and setting up an exciting future for the... exciting stuff for the future while honouring the past at the same time with all the references to this run of Doctor Who. Again, bringing out Flux. Which, it's fantastic. Yeah. Really great.
Yeah, great. Very good. Loved it. All in all, 3 fantastic 60th anniversary specials.
Yeah. I think this is the most excited we've been about Doctor Who since we started doing this podcast.
110%. I came into the Jodie Whittaker stuff excited and hopeful, and quickly went downhill. I would say.
It's very telling that there was no mention of the companion. There was no companion.
Well, no, they mentioned the Flux
companions.
though.
They mentioned the Flux, but in all the other puppets,
didn't mention Yaz. Didn't mention Graham. Didn't mention that other guy.
I mean, technically, none of them died, so
maybe that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they all
talk about people.
They all lived normal lives. So
true. Yeah, so easily I would say this is the most excited I've been about Doctor Who for years. Like I woke up raring to go this morning with excitement to watch this, Previously, last couple seasons, Flux included, it was like, I guess I'll watch Doctor Who. Or like at times even just watch it on my lunch break on my phone. Like I was like, oh, fucking whatever, just
get this over done with.
Get this over and done with sort of thing, This morning, rolling out of bed at 6 a.m. Yeah, 6 a.m. this morning, I'm rolling out of bed like, let's go, Doctor Who time, baby. Let me make my coffee and get ready. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So, it feels good.
It does.
Feels good to like things, right?
Yeah, crazy. What a concept.
What a concept. So, very good. We will be back to talk about more Doctor Who Plus in just a couple weeks' time when the Christmas special airs.
It's Christmas Day, or
it's Boxing Day here.
Well, it's Boxing Day for us, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be early Boxing Day, 6 a.m. or whatever. I presume same sort of time or something like that.
Same sort of time, like early in the morning.
Same sort of time, yeah. So I'll probably watch it then before heading off to work. Woo! Oh, Boxing Day, yay! Sales, woo! And then I presume following the special, we'll probably get a better idea of when the actual series is going to drop, like a date or month or something would be good. Or maybe something like that. I'll say also I started for people who have been listening to this, that want another Doctor Who podcast to listen to. The official Doctor Who podcast one I've been doing is quite good. So where all that it's hosted by 2 people and then Russell T Davies talking on that about half an hour, 20 minutes each episode, just on it. So that's good. I like when shows do after show podcast discussion stuff. Especially if I'm interested in hearing about the people behind it talking about stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's not like David Tennant or anything. It's just Russell T Davies being asked about it and talking about it. So
the person who actually knows all the answers.
Yeah. So it's good. Hopefully they continue that through the whole next season. I'm hoping. Not just because it was these specials. So cool. That'll do it for this week's episode of Fish Fingers and Custard. Again, see you in a couple weeks. Check out explosionetwork.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, articles, all the fun stuff. And Alon Z for the last time, I guess.
Yeah.